You know, sometimes the people closest to us, the ones we trust the most, can surprise us in ways we never imagined. I never thought my own life could become a battlefield, where every corner of my home could feel like a trap, where the people I loved could become the source of fear. Yet that's exactly what happened. It started on a quiet morning, the kind of morning where the world feels calm, and yet under the surface storms are quietly brewing. I was in my kitchen, humming softly, preparing breakfast, feeling peaceful in a way that only the early hours can offer. When he locked the door behind me, I froze. The words he said hit me like ice. Real women know their place. Just like that, my entire world seemed to shrink, as if my voice, my choices, my very presence were suddenly invalid. I stood there silently, my heart pounding in my chest. I could feel my blood racing, my hands tightening around the counter. But I did not show my fear. Days went by, each one heavier than the last. He criticized every move I made, from the meals I cooked to the way I organized our home. He laughed at my dreams, belittled my ambitions, and made me question myself. But even as I felt myself shrinking under his control, a quiet strength was forming inside me. I was documenting everything, every lie, every manipulation, every attempt to make me feel small. I learned to move silently, to observe, to take notes without revealing my plan. Every receipt I saved, every careful note I made, was part of a bigger picture. Not out of anger, not out of revenge, but out of justice. I was preparing for a day when the truth would speak louder than his arrogance ever could. The tension in our home became unbearable. There were moments when I felt I couldn't breathe, when the walls themselves seemed to close in around me. I had to remind myself to stay calm, to stay collected, to be smarter than the situation. And so I waited, patiently, silently, building my case piece by piece. I started observing his habits closely, the times he tried to assert control, the way he manipulated conversations, the subtle threats hidden behind jokes. Every detail became part of the story I was quietly recording. I kept meticulous notes, documenting his words, his promises, the things he denied saying. Every piece of evidence was carefully preserved. Finally, the day came. I walked into the court with my documents neatly organized, my mind clear, my heart determined. I could feel a strange mixture of fear and empowerment. Fear of the unknown, of how he would react, but empowerment because I knew I had done everything I could to show the truth. One by one, my secret receipts, my carefully documented evidence, revealed the reality of his deceit. Each lie he had told, each attempt to manipulate or control, was countered with facts, with proof, with the quiet, undeniable weight of truth. He tried to argue, to twist words, to paint me as unreasonable, but it was impossible. Every attempt only exposed his own lies further, and as I watched the courtroom, saw the subtle shift in expressions, I felt a sense of calm triumph, not of revenge, not of malice, but of justice being served. After that day, life began to feel different. The fear that once gripped me loosened its hold. I began to reclaim not just my kitchen but my life. I cooked freely, I laughed again, I made mistakes without fear of judgment. Every small act felt like a victory, a reclaiming of autonomy that had been denied for so long. I remember the first time I stood in my kitchen alone after it was over. Sunlight streaming through the windows, the smell of coffee and fresh bread filling the air. I smiled quietly to myself, realizing that I had taken back a part of my life, a part that was always mine but had been hidden beneath fear. Looking back, I realized the strength I found was not in confrontation but in preparation, in patience, in silent determination. I had learned that courage doesn't always roar. Sometimes it whispers, it waits, it watches, and then when the time is right, it moves with a power that cannot be ignored. He learned his lesson in the courtroom, but I learned something more profound. I learned that no one can define your worth except yourself. I learned that respect is not given because someone chooses to give it. It is claimed by those who refuse to accept less. Life has a way of testing us, of pushing us to limits we never imagined. My test was harsh, yes, but it also showed me the depth of my own strength. Every moment of fear, every sleepless night, every pang of doubt, became fuel for my determination. Even now, when I think of those days, I feel a mixture of sorrow and pride. Sorrow for the way someone I loved could try to diminish me, and pride for the courage I found within myself to document, to prepare, to fight. Not recklessly but wisely, deliberately, with purpose. I want to speak to those who may be listening and feeling trapped, dismissed, or belittled. You are not powerless. You have quiet strength, patience, and intelligence that, if nurtured, can overcome even the harshest challenges. Every small act, every careful decision, every documented truth can become your path to freedom. Reclaiming my life wasn't about proving him wrong. It was about proving to myself that I deserved dignity, respect, and autonomy. that I can exist fully, freely without fear, that I can reclaim spaces, whether they are physical like my kitchen or emotional like my own sense of self. And so I did. One step at a time I rebuilt my world. I cooked without fear. I laughed without restraint. I made choices without apology. Every single day became an affirmation of my worth, my strength, and my resilience. This journey has taught me that courage is not loud. It is not always dramatic, it is quiet, it is patient, it is meticulous. It is the courage to plan, to wait, to move with purpose. It is the courage to reclaim what is rightfully yours, one careful step at a time. I began noticing the little victories, waking up in the morning without anxiety, walking through my home knowing it was mine, cooking meals without permission or judgment. Every moment became a testament to my perseverance. The simple act of being free felt revolutionary. And as I stand here today, I feel empowered, whole, and free. I carry no hatred, no desire for revenge. What I carry is something far stronger: peace, dignity, and an unshakable belief in myself. To anyone who is listening, remember this. Strength does not ask permission. It takes its place. It asserts itself unapologetically. And sometimes the quiet, deliberate acts of courage can change your life forever. I hope my story inspires someone out there. Remind someone that even in the darkest moments, patience, courage, and preparation can lead to the brightest outcomes. And most importantly, never underestimate your own strength. It is always greater than you think. Your journey, your struggle, your quiet triumph. It matters. Claim it. Own it. Rebuild your life with the knowledge that the truth, patience, and courage are unstoppable. I am living proof that even when someone tries to lock you out of your own life, your dignity, your voice, and your freedom cannot be contained. So to anyone feeling powerless, remember, you are not. You are strong. You are capable. You are deserving of respect, love, and freedom. And one day, the quiet strength you nurture today will create a life you never thought possible. This is my story, my quiet triumph, my reclaiming of life, dignity, and self. And it is my hope that it reminds you, your courage, patience, and preparation can overcome even the most challenging battles.